Hey guys, just a little editor's note here, I guess. Before the episode starts, if you notice a quality disparity between this episode and any other episode, that is an anomaly. Things will be back to normal next week, and everything will be okay. I had a little bit of a setup error with my stuff at home, so I had to use a friend's computer. But that should be fixed. And on with the episode.
Every episode we watch, every podcast we make, is caught up in a great unseen flow. But it's bigger than that. It's the entire world, the entire universe even. Compared to something as big as that, Brogan, our podcast is tiny, not even the size of an ant. Only one small part within the much greater flow. Nothing more than a fraction of the whole. But by putting all those podcasts together, you get one great all, just like the teacher said. The flow of this universe follows laws of such magnitude that you and I can't even imagine them.
Josh?
Huh?
Who taught you all that?
Who taught me all that?
Yeah.
Myself, I guess. I mean, I was left on an island for like 2 days, so...
For 2 days?
Well, I don't know, it's more like a month, but...
Wait, hold on. There's a big fucking difference there.
Somewhere between 2 days and a month. I forgot to count.
Anyways, my name's Brogan.
And I'm Josh. And this is How to Otaku. The anime podcast where I, the young little apprentice stuck on the island, and Brogan, the great alchemy teacher, dive deep into anime one show at a time to discover a deeper appreciation of the medium. Do you think that's a proper, do you think that's a good way of describing our relationship? Or do you
Nobody
think it's
tell Josh that he's putting way too much weight on my shoulders by describing me as this. And just let him think that that's how cool I am. Thanks. Really much appreciated. He's not going to hear this part. I'm going to cut this out. He's not going to hear this. This is edited in later. Anyways, back to the episode. You didn't hear any of that, right?
Hear what?
Exactly. A little more housekeeping, guys. This episode isn't several days late. If you noticed that it's late, or if you noticed that I left a little message on the podcast feed that said it was going to be late, it was a lie. All of this is perfectly on time. Nothing's wrong.
Nothing's wrong, of course.
Nothing's wrong. No, we had finals. It's more on me than it is on Josh, just because I kept pushing it back, and then I was like, oh wait, shit, this final. Oh wait, shit, this final. And then by Thursday, I still didn't have the time to do the recording, and so Friday rolled around and there was no new episode.
Well, the only reason I didn't really have as many conflicts is because I skipped a couple finals, but...
Oh, no you didn't. Did you?
I mean, I was going to fail the classes anyway. There was
Holy
no hope.
Shit, Josh.
There was no hope.
One more piece of housekeeping. Some motherfucker named Kian left us a message.
Yes.
And I tracked him down and I fucking found him. Kian! Get the fuck over here.
Hello.
You gotta get up close because you shit mic set up.
Hello. It was me.
Hello.
I said it.
Hello,
Say it again.
Kian.
We don't need all that. Okay. And now here's the lovely message that Kian left us.
Well, hey there, boys. Long-time listener, first-time caller. Josh, I just want to say I really love the work you're doing. I think you're killing it, man. So keep up the good work. But Brogan, you can huff a fat chode. I think you're a dumb baby bitch, and I personally, along with many of your other fans, I assume, wasn't aware of Joel's death in The Last of Us 2 and was keeping myself spoiler free. So, sit on a cock and spin, and I hope you die in a hole. Thank you very much. Good luck with all your future endeavors.
Well, thank you for the compliment, Kian. It's nice to have a fan. Um, you know, that's like one person who loves me. But uh, you know, I tried to stop him from spoiling the game. I tried. I really, really tried.
I appreciate it. I think, sir, you are a gentleman, while Brogan is a scoundrel, and I think I speak for the people on this one.
All right. Well,
You're free to go.
All right, thank you.
All right. So right back into it. Let's waste nary a second. Josh, welcome back to the show. What did you think of episodes 15 through 20, or 15 through part 2, episode 2?
It was 11 through 15, actually.
Oh shit.
Do you know how to count?
No. I'm a journalism major, Josh. What makes you think I know how to fucking count?
Well, anyway, this is over episodes 11 through 15. So if you haven't seen episodes 1 through 15 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, you should go do that. And as you're getting through those episodes, you should come back to our show and listen to our previous episodes, because we got like a book club thing going on where you can listen to us talk about all this stuff, point out some things maybe you didn't notice. Anyway.
And please, by all means, if you've got any messages for us, you can do just as our lovely friend Kian did. Yeah! Asshole.
Yeah, you can do that by going to anchor.fm/howtootaku and clicking the message button on our page, and that'll bring you to the little process where you can submit a little audio message to us, and we'll put it in the show.
If anyone is, and just one more piece of thing before I jump into this show, like a skinny dipping kid in the 30s after prom. Is that a thing? No. But before anybody asks or has any confusion, we do have a live audience tonight, Josh. And he's only able to, and he's literally only able to hear one half of this conversation. So it's still going to be interesting for him to listen to the podcast. He is, as far as I'm aware, the only person who actually routinely listens to this show so far. And we love him.
Who is it? Is it Kian or?
It's Kian, yeah, bang on.
Oh, okay. Cool. Well, now that we have a live audience, we got to cue up the laugh track,
You may be required to come in for a laugh track here or there. Don't worry, they won't hear me talk about this part. We'll edit it in and it'll sound rad. He says okay.
All right, great. Wonderful. All right, anything else we've got to do before we
Winry freaks the fuck out we're in Rock Valley.
Yeah. Okay, so as we're going from episode 10 to episode 11, our plucky little children protagonists enter the auto mail capital of at least the country, or is it the world? Like,
I'm pretty sure they say it's the world, but I could be wrong about that one. It could just be wow, what is the country called? I missed that. What is the country called?
Oh, it's Amestris? Something like that?
Amestris. Hey, does that check out? He says yes. He's Googling it. I got a little Siri puppet.
We have entered Rock Valley Amestris, which is the auto mail capital of the world, and we get to see Winry kind of geek out about, all the auto mail and stuff, and then, we kind of get like a little slice of this particular town's culture, where basically like everybody notices Ed and Al, and they just like freak the hell out and like start picking at his at their auto mail and stuff. And I don't know, like it's cool because like you don't actually get a lot of like the culture of the town in this episode, but like the little bit that you do makes it feel like, it's a community full of these people who are just like all interested in this one little cultural thing.
Right,
Like,
it's certainly a distinct place all to its own, and everyone like genuinely is fully invested in automail as like the thing that they do.
yeah, and it does feel really, it feels like it checks out because like if you've ever been to like a place that is the capital of something, like like when I lived in Michigan, we lived like about an hour away from the Christmas capital of the world. So like every Christmas time we go up there and like the whole town is about Christmas. Like, and everybody's obsessed with Christmas and like you can feel it in the culture of that town. And so like it feels like that sort of thing checks out when, we see this place that's all about this one particular thing.
Right, exactly. They get here, and almost immediately after Edward is stripped naked, for all the people of the village to stare at his body in a stunned gaze of glory.
Oops.
They get robbed blind by our brand new friend Panina.
Panini is a weird name. Like, I don't know. Like, it just makes me think of panini. Like,
my mom gets these things from the grocery store every once in a while, or at least she did. And they're called paninos, and they're like string cheeses kinda, but the string cheese is wrapped in like a deli meat. Like there's sausage ones and there's like salami ones, and they're very good. But every time I hear panina, I think panino or panino or whatever they're called.
yeah, that sounds like something my dad would love. But anyway, this girl Panina pickpockets them, and they like the whole town like apparently knows that she's just like a pickpocket and doesn't do anything about it, which is really
She really
weird.
only targets people from out of town. But then that's also even more weird, where they're just like, get fucked, nerd. It's kind of like a really cynical New York, where it's like, yeah, you got robbed. You should have taken better care of yourself, I guess, shithead.
But they do eventually point her to like where she's hiding out. She's like hanging out with this like automail engineer named Dominic, who lives like in the mountain a ways from the town. And they like track her down. There's a little bit of a battle. It's not like long, but it's pretty cool.
Panina has a fucking gun in her leg. She has 2 automail legs.
Yeah, I love shit like that, where like people literally have weapons built into their body. I love that when that happens.
Right, and it's interesting to see the 2 ways so far that people can do that. Whereas like Panina, she gets it like special built into her legs, like a fucking cyberpunk mantis blade. Yeah, I've been playing that game. And you know what? Fuck it. If somebody calls in and spoils that to us, fuck it. You got me. Funny joke, kid. But
Spoiler
yeah, no,
alert,
it's
big
cool.
PP.
Big PP. It's funny to see that like Panina has leg cannons just built into her by Dominic, whereas like Ed still uses his automail as a weapon, but he does alchemy to it. Like he turns it into a sword, or like a hammer with his face on it, or like a baseball bat with his face on it, or some other third thing with his face on it.
Yeah. But anyway, they basically like they track her down and they follow her to her place where they were like when we asked Dominic for like an apprenticeship of sorts, because like she's super impressed by like all the automail that he did on Panina's legs, and he just like totally rejects her. Like,
yeah, no, he shoots
Stone
that fucking
cold.
just he kills her. He fucking kills her. He just he builds her up. He's like, this shit's pretty good for a fucking amateur. And she's like, oh, please, senpai, teach me the ways. And he's like, eat shit, nerd. I'm not teaching you shit. I will show you this one really questionably portrayed minority, though, and you can learn from him. He's pretty great.
Yeah, we'll get to that. Okay, so when that happens, what does happen then?
We get the
Like,
backstory. We
yeah,
get
I guess they're just
Paninia's
kind of like hanging
backstory.
around. Like Panina lost her legs and her parents in a train accident, and she's like super flippant about it. Like,
Yeah, I mean, I feel like growing up at least some years of your life on the streets and then being kidnapped by a man who bolts metal legs to your stumps, it might do that to you. It might make you a little stale to the fact that your legs are gone and your parents are dead.
mm-hmm.
I can't say for sure, but it feels like it's feasible.
Yeah, and like, I want to talk about like, was she kidnapped? Because like, she definitely did not seem like consenting to
Put me down,
Dominic
you creepy
pulling
old
her
man!
pulling her out of the fucking alley. But like,
Exactly.
but at the same time, like, you know, like he doesn't seem to be treating her poorly. Like,
No, she's definitely better off than she would be just still living on the streets, but she wasn't too happy about going.
yeah. But anyway, so like, Panina and I mean, like, Winry's talking about like, I mean, Panina's talking about like how much in debt she is to Dominic, and then like Winry like totally like, what's
she
the word?
sets her straight. She's
She like scolds her like about the.
She's like, why are you think stealing is gonna give the fucking respect to the lineage of this man that saved your ass from the streets? You think you want to pay him back by stealing shit from strangers who just walk through?
Mhm.
Grow the fuck up! And then Panina does.
Yeah, it's pretty great. I hope we see more of her because like she has a little bit in the 15th episode, but she's not like, you know, I mean, I do want to see more of her because she seems like a cool character.
She's very cool. We love Panina.
Anyway, and then like,
There's a little tussle between her and Winry where Winry asks her to give Ed his watch back, and she's like, nah, you tell him to get it from, or what is, oh no, she gives it to Winry, and then Winry gives it back. No, what happened? Sorry. I know. Winry takes the watch back from Panina, and she cracks it open, even though Ed sealed it with his alchemy. Winry manages to bust it open because she's like, oh, there's probably pictures of girls inside or something. He's hiding secrets, silly little boy. And then she cracks it open and has a full mental breakdown because it is a memento of the date that the brothers Elric revived a semi-sentient corpse of their mother and then burned down their house with it inside.
oh, did that all happen on the same day? Because I kind of like inferred that that those two things happened on separate days, but
I think they
I guess
did,
it
but
makes
for the
sense.
purpose of the narrative that I was just talking about, it makes it feel more impactful. Anyways, yeah, just October 3rd, or the 3rd of October, year 11. It wasn't
presumably
a
1911.
great day. Yeah, presumably 1911, halfway between the world wars.
Anyway, after that, like, something really, really random happens. Like, Dominic's daughter or daughter-in-law, it's not made clear, but, she's pregnant and, you know, coincidentally, the water breaks as they're there. And Dominic has to go to fetch the doctor, but, like, it's not going to be quick enough, so these literal children and her husband have to deliver this baby on their own. Like,
Right, and they fucking do.
yeah,
Like, Winry just is like, yeah, I vaguely remember something about this from the biology textbooks I read when I was a child.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like this is a thing that happens in like every television show where like there's always an episode where like they're stuck in a place with a pregnant woman and her water breaks and they have to deliver it. Like
Is
I
that
feel
a
like that's
thing?
I feel like that happens a lot in like sitcoms and stuff. Like Brooklyn Nine-Nine I think had an episode where that happened, and
I don't
yeah.
remember that one. I haven't
If it-
seen enough of Brooklyn Nine-Nine.
I haven't seen the whole thing. Like I don't think I've seen most of the episodes after it switched networks, but it's a pretty good show. I think it's all on Hulu, but anyway, like I feel like that's a thing that always happens, and like I don't. Winry apparently read medical textbooks as a child.
Right, exactly. Her parents were doctors, and so another one of those fucking stupid anime things where it's just like, oh, I'm unnaturally
the
good at this
thing.
one thing. Yeah. So Winry read medical textbooks as a child, and that's why she knows how to deliver a baby.
Yep,
Because
it's
her
the
parents were Warfield doctors.
Yep, it's the Ready Player One thing where, oh, I'm in this problem. A good thing I had like this very specific thing I did that helps me do this like no problem.
I never have and refuse to watch Ready Player One.
I'm talking about the book specifically. I've seen the movie and it's a little bit better, but it's not great. Anyway,
The movie's better than the book? Excuse me?
it is. It is better.
Oh my god.
And that's because Steven Spielberg knows how to make a movie. Anyway.
Can you just for like 10 minutes take Spielberg's dick out of your mouth, Josh?
I don't love everything Spielberg has done. I don't like Ready Player One. I hate Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. I hate his segment in the Twilight Zone movie.
I'm not hearing the prequels, Josh.
That's George Lucas.
Yeah, that was George Lucas. Fuck. Oops. Moving on. It's a baby. They hatched the baby.
Yep.
The baby hatches.
Yeah, and honestly, it's an ugly looking little motherfucker. Like,
It looks like a small person, doesn't it? It looks like it doesn't look like a baby. It just looks like a tiny dude.
yeah, and like it's weird, like hearing Ed shout, "It's a baby." Like, first of all, no shit. Like, what'd you expect?
Amazing, amazing. Edward's just so fucking psyched about this baby.
I mean, like, I don't know. It's just like usually when a baby like comes out of a person in a movie, they like shout the gender. So like, it's a little weird to shout like it's a baby. Like, but I guess at the same time,
this show
like,
is based. The show is woke. The show is fucking years ahead of its time. It's gender abolitionism at its finest, buddy.
I mean, good. Anyway, and then I don't have this written in the notes, but then Winry basically confesses to Edward like right after this that she cracked open his Alchemist watch, and they have a little moment where like what happened in that moment? I'm trying to remember.
Edward drops Winry flat on her ass.
Yeah.
And they have a little heart to heart where Ed's like, "Yeah, it's dumb. I hate myself. I shouldn't have ever given that thing like physical manifestation with something that I hold and carry every single day."
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a sore spot for him.
And it's weird, like, she starts crying about it because, like, you know, it I guess it was a little traumatizing to her, too. And, like, he just straight up calls her an idiot, like, twice. It's a little shallow, but...
It's more of a motivation thing. I'm going to bring this into it because I can, and somebody out there is going to appreciate it. The World Ends With You does this a little bit, where Neku and Beat have this dynamic between the two of them, where Neku's just like, "Shut the fuck up! You're an idiot, and that's what you are, and that's a good thing. Shut the fuck up! All this thinking stuff. Every time you think, it goes wrong. So follow your fucking heart." It's the most cynical Kingdom Hearts bullshit I've ever seen in my life, and it's great. It's the same thing. It's the exact same thing that Ed is doing here. He's motivating her.
I feel like we're building up to a moment where we just decide to start like an anime games spin-off. Like,
Don't tempt me.
we can barely
For
even handle one fucking podcast.
For
Let's
$2 on Patreon every month, you can unlock a special bonus episode where I scream about anime games. You can't.
Anyway, after this little moment when we like vows to get a mentor so that she can help the Elrics like upgrade their powers, and like she doesn't succeed in getting Dominic to change his mind, but he does like point her in the direction of another person, and so like basically the Elrics move on to the city of Dublith. What was that?
Yeah. That was nothing.
What was that?
That was nothing. The longer you drag this on, the longer we have to cut out.
Sorry.
It was a piano.
The Elrics move on to Dublith, and Winry and Panina basically stay behind to learn to do their things, to learn stuff and become more productive people in society. And
Right.
It's a nice little way to end an episode.
Moving swiftly along.
Yep. This is a little bit more of an interesting episode because it basically opens with our first like proper introduction to Edward and Alphonse's father, Hohenheim Elric, who has not been named, and like he shows up a couple times in the intro, but like apart from that we have not seen much of anything about this guy.
Now, as far as I know, and I don't know how I feel about saying this up front, but this was what I was told. Honestly, I've never seen the last 5 episodes of this show. I don't fucking know how it ends. I've been told that Hohenheim is not the Elric's dad. I don't know why I thought that initially, other than they look exactly the same. I don't know if that's something they say explicitly in the show, but for some reason, I had a friend called John Curtis who told me this while I was watching the show initially, but supposedly that's not actually their dad. I don't know if that's a spoiler or not.
That sounds exactly like a spoiler. Let's please cut this out. We don't want to do spoilers.
No, it's fine. Because here's the thing. The only people who know if it's a spoiler or not are the people who have finished the show. I have no idea if that's a spoiler or not, or just something that somebody told me that was wrong.
Well, yeah, but now, like, me and everybody else is going to be, like, super fucking suspicious the whole time, and, like...
As am I, so we're going to go with it.
All right, fine.
I don't know. This is genuine intrigue, and we'll go with it for the rest of the podcast. You have to listen to us now forever to tell if we are the ones who figure it out, or if there's still some big major conspiracy secret. See, it's called audience retention.
All right. Well, moving right along. And then they finally get to this town of Dublith, where they meet the resident MILF, Izumi.
Shut the fuck up! Oh my! He just called Izumi a MILF.
She is.
Josh is mad. Josh, Kian is mad at you.
Well, I'm sorry. Like,
I can't believe that. Yes, she is great. She's not a MILF. She'll kick your ass, Josh. She knew she said. If she knew you fucking said that,
MILF.
She's a kinky MILF. She's mad at the Elrics. I'm not engaging with this anymore. She's mad at the Elrics.
Can I be into the things I'm into?
Yeah. I guess so.
Anyway, they meet with her, and, you know, things are clearly a bit heated. She's pissed at them, and, you know, she's already, like, a really, like, aggressive person, to put it lightly. Like, she
Right.
literally kicks their ass the moment they show up. Like,
They show up and she's like, so you didn't retain all that hard ass teaching that I gave you, you pieces of shit. Why'd you even come back here?
mm-hmm. And she's like,
She's a real tough love kind of lady.
mm-hmm. Yeah, and she's like the only white person I've ever seen pull off dreadlocks ever. So,
Only acceptable instance, not even a cosplay. Like, white girls with dreadlocks it's probably worse than black dudes with mullets. The only reason I say that is because I saw that on Twitter the other day.
what, a black person with a mullet?
Yes. And
Oh.
I'm talking like not like a mullet in the sense that they have it permed or grown out or anything.
It's literally
I'm talking like
Joe
it's like
Dirt.
they grew out an afro and then shaved it down to look like a mullet.
Oh, okay.
It was interesting.
Anyway, like after she kicks their little asses, she brings them in, and they have a little discussion about their father, Hohenheim, who like left them as children, like
Oh, that's right.
dead ass, and
Hey, you can completely ignore all the rest of the shit that I just said like 2 minutes ago. This is why I thought that Hohenheim was their dad. Because he is. Kian's mad at me. I'm leaving it in. This is character growth. I can admit when I'm wrong.
great. And like apparently he's really interested in the Philosopher's Stone too. I mean, obviously we kind of see like the payoff to that little setup like in episode 14. Anyway, he's interested in the Philosopher's Stone, and Ed blames him for his mom's death, even though like she died because she was
Okay, so you
sick,
thought
and,
that
like,
this was weird too, right?
yeah, like he blames her. I mean, he blames him for that, but like it's not really his fault. Like maybe he could have done something about it, but like it's a little
Right,
up
like
in the air.
obviously he could have, like if he was there, he could have definitely been and gotten a doctor or something.
Yeah,
But like when she wasn't sick when he left, he didn't know. And it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, it sucks that the dad's going out for milk and never coming back.
but like you don't have to blame him for that shit.
But it's not necessarily
fault.
his fault that she got sick and died.
Yeah. Anyway, and then at this point we get kind of a flashback to like their Izumi and the Elrics kind of meeting. Like she fucking stops a flood in this town like a badass, like, and nobody really knows who she is. She just kind of like shows up and does it. And
She throws up, barfs guts. Fucking
oh yeah, that's a
stops
thing too.
flood.
Like, I mean, we'll get to that, but like, how do you just survive having to constantly do that? Like,
Right? Like,
the only like logical
Missing-
explanation I can give is that like it's one of those like exaggerated like anime things where like, she just coughs up a lot of blood because like it looks cooler than like, if she coughed up a little bit into a napkin every now and again.
right. If she like every 10 or 15 minutes coughed up a little into a napkin, it wouldn't be nearly as memorable or like badass. If she just like maybe once an episode just projectile like
Yeah.
internal organs leave her.
Anyway, she stops this flood like a fucking badass, and then like the orphaned Elrics show up and like ask her to teach them. Like at first she like literally like conjures up a big fucking rock fist and punches them like across the fucking field.
Yeah, she just fucks these kids up. She just fucks
But they're-
these children up.
but they're fine. They literally
And they're
come
just
back.
cool with it. They're like, bro, that was rad. How'd you do that? Show me how to do
like,
that.
She eventually gives in, but like then like the first thing she does is like throws them onto an island and forces them to do like the castaway thing like a bitch.
This is what we call Gohan syndrome.
What is Gohan syndrome?
Dragon Ball Z, Josh. Maybe you've heard of it.
I've heard of it.
There's a character arc where Goku's son, which Goku is like the
main
character.
Yeah.
His son is kidnapped by his arch rival, like the big bad guy from the last series, which was just Dragon Ball. And so 30, 40 episodes into Dragon Ball Z, Gohan just gets kidnapped by Piccolo, and Piccolo is training him to beat Goku's alien brother in a fist fight with laser beams. And he does so by leaving him in the wilderness for like 50 days by himself. It's the exact same thing.
Yeah, I guess
and,
it's to like
it
arm
happens semi-frequently in shows.
Yeah. And I would totally fucking die if somebody did this to me. Like, I would not live at all.
I
I'd be
wouldn't.
gone.
You know why?
Because you would have eaten me.
I'm built different.
Oh. We don't have that. We don't have very different builds.
I'm built different.
Maybe
I'm
you're
constructed comparatively. I'm erected alternatively. So this is the point at which they realize that all life is connected through the circle of life, and that consuming, being smaller than you, gives you the energy to be consumed by the beings larger than you later.
Yeah, it's another little connection in this this big tapestry of the the cyclical alchemy thing, where everything has a price to pay, and everything happens because something happened before it. So everything kind of comes in around itself, and it's
and they just stumble on this realization by eating ants.
Well, first of all, Ed literally
throwing
tries to
this
eat
item-
his brother.
Right. They go so delusionally hungry that Ed eats ants and has a fucking spiritual.
Fucking
Yeah, he has a spiritual breakdown where he's like, "Ants are me and I am ants." And that was the lesson that Izumi wanted them to learn. She said if they didn't learn a lesson on that island, then they'd be thrown right back to the state. Fuck them. Fuck them kids.
It's pretty hardcore. But anyway, they eventually survive. Izumi comes back, and when they tell him about all their what they figured out, first of all she laughs it off because she thinks it's fucking hilarious. And then she's just all right, fine. You guys are the real deal.
You got it.
Yeah, and her way
time to fuck these kids up some more.
Yep. Her way of training is basically to kick their asses while she reads from a book.
Right, she just lectures them and beats the shit out of them simultaneously.
Yeah. So then we flash back forward to the present, and basically okay, wait. So in the flashback, Izumi conjures something without one of those little circles on the ground or whatever, and
right, a transmutation array.
And once the kids point that out, Edward in the present realizes why she could do that back then, and they basically confront her, and
she's like, yeah, I already fucking knew. You didn't have to tell me. As soon as I punched your brother, I was like, these motherfuckers. And then they have a little tussle over dinner where they just cry, and they're like, fuck, we're so fucking stupid.
Yeah.
I can't believe we both fucking did it.
Yes.
But we did.
So the same way that Ed and Al tried to conjure their mother back after she died, Izumi tried to bring back her stillborn child after months and months of trying to have a child. Well, years, I suppose. But anyway, it obviously doesn't work, and it takes out some of her internal organs, and
yeah,
so,
that's the price she paid.
Yeah, and so that's why she coughs up all that blood all the time, and like it's kind of like this shared like painful experience between them. And like, okay, how do you lose internal organs and just live?
I have to imagine that she doesn't know as much as Edward does, and even Alphonse. Or maybe it's just binary, you sacrifice something or you don't. Because for Edward, he lost his arm for the information.
Mm-hmm.
And then he traded his leg for his brother's soul. Izumi, like, gave up her internal organs, but maybe she only gave up, like, a little bit. Maybe, like, it's just, like, a fraction of an inch of the stomach lining or something to give her, like, acid reflux. And it's bloody because the stomach lining is constantly being peeled away by her sacrificing it.
That could be possible, but...
And so it's not like... she's given something up tangibly, and so she's got this handicap, and that is what gives her the information. As opposed to like, oh, it's like a third of her lower intestine.
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I don't know the answer. It's fine. Anyway, so then, like, immediately moving on to the next episode, Izumi just fucking expels Ed and Al for doing the human transmutation, which is pretty hypocritical, to be honest. Like...
I don't think it is. Like, I know what you mean, but she explicitly hammered into their brains that they should know this rule because she fucked it up and she didn't want them to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they would have known better than anyone else that they weren't supposed to do this shit. And they did it anyways, and so she has to get rid of them. Also, her husband likes to remind the boys that now that they're not her students anymore, they're equals. They can ask her whatever they want on their terms.
Mm-hmm. So they basically, like, after he tells them that, they come back and, like, insist that she help them, like, regain their bodies and, like, figure out, like, how to, I don't know, like, what are they even looking for? Like, I guess they're just looking for information as to the Philosopher's Stone.
Right, exactly. They still don't know what it is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so anyway, like, they basically decide that they have to restore, like, okay, so, like, they suppose that, Alphonse has, like, some sort of memory of seeing the truth in, like, the afterlife, but...
Right.
That it's...
If they've given up what they've given up, she gave up some of her internal organs. He gave up his arm and his leg. He must have seen more. Alphonse gave up his entire body. What do you think he saw? He's got to have some answers, right? But shit, he lost his memory.
Yeah, so before they can, like, figure out how to do that, like, this crocodile-looking motherfucker is spying on them, and, he basically, like, goes off to, like, do some shit. Wait, hang on. Sorry, so anyway, like, crocodile motherfucker, like, he's part of this gang that we'll get to later, but before that happens, Mustang ambitious bitch moves up in Central.
The ambition of Colonel Roy Mustang.
It's pretty great.
This has become a repeating weekly theme. The ambition of Colonel Roy Mustang.
It's like his one thing. Like,
you're coming with me. You're coming with me. You just got a new girlfriend? Fuck the bitch. Dump her. You're coming with me.
That was the big laugh of this whole 5-episode thing. Like, just dump her. Crash.
Well, you see, Colonel, there's this girl that I've been seeing lately, and she means a lot to me. I really like her. I think I may have to quit.
Dump her.
Pat.
Yeah, but anyway, like, now Roy Mustang is part of Central, I believe. Like, he's actually, like, part of the the central, and
Yes, he's moving up in the world.
and anyway, we kind of get to that later, but back to this. The crocodile-looking motherfucker is actually is actually like part of this gang of this gang owned, but not Greed, but run by Greed, who has not shown up yet, but he's in part of the Ouroboros thing with well, I guess he's not part of that anymore, but he was formerly a part of this Ouroboros thing with
We don't have to dance around it. I mean, like, I know we usually go in episode order when we talk about it. We don't have to dance around it. The people have either seen these episodes or have agreed by way of still listening this far into the episode without knowing what we're talking about that they don't care about spoilers.
Okay. Right, I forget that because like I've got all my notes like in chronological order, so like
Right.
anyway,
and that's a good practice. I think it's important to note that we can go off on this tangent at this point if you want to, or we can take a quick ad break.
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
hello there.
Anyway, we're back.
We are back. All right, so where are we at? Okay, so we were talking about Greed. Greed is part of the what are these guys called? He's one of the homunculi who consist of like greed, lust, envy, gluttony. There's one more. Is it sloth? Is it sloth they mentioned by name?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So they're one of the homunculi, but Greed is kind of like separated from the group. He's not part of them anymore, presumably because like, you know, he's just like so greedy. He wants everything for himself, and he can't have that. So he wants to have his own shit.
Greed.
Yeah. Anyway, basically they send the goons over to like basically kidnap Al, and when they bring him back, Greed basically like explains the whole situation to them, like that Greed's goons are all government created chimera, I guess.
Right. He spills the beans. This is the butt actually that Kian wanted to give us in the last episode.
Yeah.
Chimeras and homunculi are different things.
Yes. So basically then then Greed tries to basically like first Al, but then Ed, when he like basically barges in to spill the beans about about how Al got into this body of armor, because Greed has the ability to recover from damage, but he is not immortal. So if he had Al's body, if he had like a metal body and his healing regeneration, then he would be essentially immortal.
Right.
And that
if he was able to restore his consciousness to another form after he died,
yes. And
it would in his mind make him immortal.
Mm-hmm. So basically that but then Ed is like, he basically like shouts like the fucking anime boyish shit at them, like, you all are fucking scum, you know, like, I'm not gonna give you shit
under my boot.
I'm gonna kick your asses. And so he, basically all the chimera like piece out of there, leaving Ed to fight Greed, and Ed eventually figures out how to get past like Greed's, like, he's got like this this shield on his body that like, not only can he like regenerate body parts, but he has like this shield that goes around his body, preventing him from getting damaged. So but Ed eventually figures out how to get past that. So he can fuck him up, but like not permanently. So
He basically does the Demon Slayer fucking water sword technique, where if he thinks about it hard enough, He can pinpoint your weakness and then exploit it for massive damage.
Mm-hmm.
He fucking rearranged the carbon atoms in this motherfucker to turn off his shield.
Yeah.
And then
Anyway,
punch
but, like,
him hard.
I think this is kind of just another one of those little anime things, but why the hell would you explain your plan to the enemy as you're doing battle? Like...
So that everyone in the audience can be like, what's he fucking doing?
Well, yeah, but, like, they could do it as, like, as, like, an internal monologue instead of, like, him literally saying it out loud.
They could, but isn't it such a fucking power move to explain what you're doing to somebody as you beat the shit out of them?
I guess so.
It's like it's like that Sherlock Holmes thing where he's like, discombobulate. Then, wild haymaker, discombobulate.
Yeah, so then...
You know what I'm talking about.
Are you talking about the show Sherlock? Because I haven't seen all that. Or just like
Robert
Sherlock
Downey
Holmes in
Jr.
general.
movies.
Huh? The Robert Downey Jr. movies? I've seen the
Yeah.
first one a while ago. I didn't really like it, but...
Fair enough.
Anyway. Then, basically, like, everybody shows up at this place. First Izumi, then the police, and, like, all the state alchemists that are left, I guess, and, including Fuhrer Bradley. So...
Right, Fuhrer Bradley makes a point to show the fuck up.
Yeah,
And why is Fuhrer Bradley here?
He's here because he's fucking in on this, and he knows that, you know, if he doesn't cover his tracks, you know, people are going to figure out, like, his connections with all the Ouroboros gang.
Yeah, so Josh, tell me about that. You were sus on Fuhrer Bradley.
I've always been
you
sus
care
on-
to explain what's been going on with that motherfucker?
I'm always suspect of, like, the main authority figure in any like power structure. Like,
And it turns out
I was right.
Fuhrer King Bradley is Wrath. Whoa!
Who could have seen this one coming?
That's crazy. Which it's still disturbing to like know that and and immediately after being introduced to that, you're introduced to the fact that he has a son, and the son isn't just someone they can talk about. He's real and tangible, and if he dies, you're gonna have to watch it happen. And so you're just scared as shit for this child's life now that you didn't know existed like until like right now.
Yeah. Anyway, but like Fuhrer Bradley shows up, and basically the whole military like covers the tracks. They kill all the Chimera. They really fuck up Greed like as much as they can. I don't think they kill him, do they? Well, no, they like kidnap him though, or whatever, and bring him back.
Right, Fuhrer Bradley kills him like 17 times and then sticks him in a fucking rucksack and carries him back to like his home base.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then once they get there, like we get like another fucking bombshell that Bradley is actually Wrath. I guess. Like he's actually one of them. Like he's actually Wrath the Furious. Haha.
Roll on snare. Funny joke. Everyone laughed.
Kill me. Anyway, and then we get the big bombshell. Their leader, who they call Father, is like, he's definitely fucking Hohenhai Elric. Like, they don't like completely show his face, but like it's too similar to not be. Like, that is him.
Right. It's sus as shit.
So, like, unless they pull, like, some kind of, like, shapeshifter shit on us, which, like, they could have, but, like, unless that's the case, then Hohenhai Elric is literally, like, the evilest motherfucker on the planet, and is going to be, like, directly opposed to Ed.
Don't remember. I fully don't remember. Also, I will nitpick this. It's Hohenheim with an
Hohenheim?
M.
Oh.
Yes, it's very German.
Oh, okay. I just, like, they didn't pronounce the M, like, very, very pronounced. So
Hohenheim Elric.
Hohenheim. Okay.
Yes.
All right. Now that we got that cleared up out of the way, it's very clear, like, daddy issues are going to become a thing in this show. Like, you know,
Even more so than they already are.
yeah. So, like, basically, father dumps Greed into a fucking vat of lava, and they drink his blood, and that's basically how episode 14 ends. And I don't know, like, okay, so I need to talk about like this. So like this format thing. So like this show wasn't released in seasons, but it feels like it's divided into like very specific parts. And like this feels like the end of a part, and then the next one like feels like the start of a new chapter in the show where
Right. It's kind of weird. This is technically episode 1 of season 2. Or part 2, depending on how you see it defined by whatever streaming service you're using. Which is weird.
Yeah, because it feels like a season finale.
It feels like this episode definitely should have been the season finale for season 1.
Yeah.
And maybe the
maybe the algorithm just like split up the episodes wrong, but
No, I think it's more that it's like a pacing thing that comes from the original manga. I think maybe the Automail City should have came after this as like a weird pacing thing. I feel like it has something to do with the manga publisher, and they routinely tweak with stories to make them so that people will read for longer. And I feel like this may have something to do with that, but you're totally right. This, if nothing else, feels like it should have been the end of season 1 and not the beginning of season 2.
yeah, but it really feels like a cap to like a chapter or like a season. So, anyway, what should we talk about next? 'Cause we've got like the next. Oh, we should talk about Scar.
Yeah, we missed a plot line there. Scar comes back for a little bit.
Yeah, in
Earlier in episode
12. 13?
Yes.
13? No, it's 13. Yes, episode 13. So,
it's not incredibly important. Somebody shows up, basically bounty hunting him, and then he just fucking murks him, just absolutely dead.
yeah.
And now Scar is being followed by this vaguely racist caricature of a Chinese man.
Yeah. This guy's name is Yogi, and we figure out at the beginning of episode 15 that he's just kind of like this random guy, and like he has this little girl with him named May, who is like, I guess she's an alchemist as well. She can do alchemy too. Like, and she's like,
She can do alchemy.
okay, so what's the difference between the two? Because they seem
I
incredibly similar.
Don't know.
Okay.
I think that alchemy is specifically targeted towards more medical practices.
Okay.
And so they're able to do, I guess, what Edward would probably call bioalchemy.
All right. I thought it was alchehistory, so I just thought it was like the history of alchemy, but like
I think it might be that they pronounce it a little funny. I think it's always been alchehistory, but I don't know. I've never seen it spelled out.
okay,
So.
I'll look into that. Alchehistory. Okay, so it's actually got an A in it. Hestry. So yes, alchehistory, also known as purification arts, refers to a slightly different form of alchemy used in the country of Qing. So it's basically just like a variant of it.
Right. It's Josh, Force allegory. Come on. Star Wars. Let's hear it. Is there like good force and
Good
bad
force-
force or something?
There is good force, bad force, but I don't think that this is applicable because, like,
Well,
the
if we think about those gray lines, Josh,
I don't. I,
alchemy in Alestra is used kind of more as a tool of war.
I suppose
Like
so.
it's fully a weapon. They use alchemy as a tool to further their military prowess before and beyond anything else they use alchemy for. In Xing, they seem to use alchemy as like to help people, as like a medicine or as like a form of healing.
Yeah, I suppose so.
and-
So it's not like a clearly divided thing like the forces where like there's good and there's bad and there's like not much like in between. Whereas like, you know, alchemy and alchemy are like they're the same thing, but like colloquially they kind of have like these two different connotations based on like how they're generally used in their societies.
Exactly.
Okay, so I understand that. All right. So anyway, like she does alchemy, and like heals up the wound that Scar gets, like in this little scene that happens right before the new opening, and basically like Scar kind of hits like this rough history with his state alchemist brother, and like then the little girl has like this fascination with Edward, and I don't know, I guess at the end of episode 15 we see them kind of heading somewhere. It's not made specific where, but I have to assume they're heading
all
towards
vaguely
the Elrics.
looking for the Elrics.
Yeah.
Um
Do you have anything to add to
in the
like
middle
this?
of all this, they go back to Rock Valley, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
And Edward and Alphonse are attacked by fucking ninjas,
Yes.
also from Xing.
Yeah, they meet this guy Ling Gao in like a fucking in a fucking alley, and like they immediately just like start buying him like food, I guess. And anyway,
He kind of tricks them into it.
well, I don't know. They skip past the part where he tricks them, and like I think it's just like basically a cut from like Al finds him like passed out in the alley to like they're
Right.
eating. But
Yeah. And then he tries to skip out on the bill.
yeah. Anyway, like this guy's apparently like he's from this other country called Qing, and he's actually one of the princes of the country. And because there's like this long line of heirs, just because of the way that like the society is structured, Ling is trying to figure out about the Philosopher's Stone so that he can achieve immortality and ensure that he gets to inherit the kingdom eventually.
So we got all kinds of motherfuckers coming out of the woodworks looking for this philosophy stone now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I like this as like if we were to assume that this is like the season opening of season 2, which it isn't, but if we were to assume that like this is the start of a new part, then this is a great like way to start that off because
Exactly.
it immediately
Introduction of a new country, introduction of a new kind of people, introduction of a new kind of power system, introduction of new like fully well supporting characters. This feels like season 2 episode 1.
Yes. And I really like how that kind of like adds to the world building because like before this we didn't really have any sense of Amestris as like it pertains to the broader world, but now we get more of a clearer sense of like how they interact with their other countries, and they seem to be like in this position of not being well respected or like well liked by other countries. You know, they're very
Definitely not necessarily the good guys.
yeah, it's very Nazi Germany, you know, like it's being very clear that this is like kind of trying to go for a Nazi German thing where
Right. It's coming right up to the line and it's kissing it and it's whispering in its ear, but it's not ever like delivering on it.
mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Not to say that there's a delivery to be had, but it's not just saying, "Yep, it's Nazis. Here's a Holocaust for you. It's not doing that.
Yeah. It feels.
It's just being like vaguely like, huh.
It feels a couple.
This is
steps
a very
removed.
similar. Yeah, it's several steps removed. It's just hand gesturing to the similar kind of like external vision that Germany would have had at the time, assuming nobody knew what was going on.
Yeah. So anyway, they have this this fight with Ling Gao and his goons. And in the middle of this, like, Edward literally shouts, like, "You and your boss with the freaky closed eyes," and like it comes out of nowhere. Like,
Oh yeah, and they try and play it off as if like it's a JoJo realization where he's like, when I make fun of his eyes, she freaks out and attacks me, but her attacks lose power and they just come out fast and aggressive, but they're weak as shit. And they play it off as it's like Edward doing this big brain genius JoJo move, and it's actually just racist.
I mean, like, if this is supposed to be like not necessarily an allegory, but kind of like if we're trying to allude to like Nazi Germany, then like Edward being a little bit of a racist kind of makes sense. But at the same time, like, we've seen like how the show like visually depicts the like characters of other like races and orientations, and it's not nice.
Right. It
So-
fully could just be pushing that like Nazi allegory, German white nationalist nation state like vibe that Amestris has, or it could just be Japan not being fully aware of racial connotations in the way that the United States is and has to be.
Mm-hmm. I don't know, like
It could go either way, honestly.
and it does feel a little weird that like a Japanese production has like a moment where a character acts racist against other Asians, because like, I mean, it's not like he's being racist towards a Japanese person. Like, this other country, Qing, is definitely like stand-in for China if we were to say that like any of these countries are stand-ins. So like,
For sure.
but it is a little weird to be like, you know, like, hey,
Also,
this
Al
Asian
pulls out his new trick. He recovered his memories in the fight with the chimeras, and he can use palm circles now. He doesn't need transmutation circles.
yeah, like,
That's the upside. The downside is he didn't learn anything about the Philosopher's Stone. We're no further along
Yeah.
in that quest than we were 4 episodes ago.
yeah. Also, downside of that is that like the way that he recovered those memories has to be like one of the most fucking traumatizing things to ever happen to a child. Like,
Oh, yeah.
literally
like-
having a person inside of your body and then somebody kill that person inside of your body despite you trying to protect them. Like, it's got to be
God,
like
just-
the most fucking like upsetting thing for a child.
Kid's 14. He had to deal with that. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, it. but he can use palm circles now. Hooray!
Hooray.
It was worth it.
Child trauma and mental abuse is fully negated by the fact that I can do rad magic.
Yeah, and while we're on the subject of stereotypes, you know, we have to point out the Winry's new, like, not master, but like new teacher. Like, what would be the term?
Apprentice. I guess it is apprentice master, isn't it?
Yeah.
Who has an apprentice? Automail Smith, sure. He
Okay.
didn't say anything. He just kind of stared at me until I figured that out.
Okay. So anyway, but like he's like very like gay stereotype, and so that's another layer of like yikes we got to throw on this show. Like that's the problem. Is like, you know, like I want to like talk about this show and like give it all the praise in the world because the writing is really good and the world building is great. There's wonderful animation and music, but then we run into problems.
Yeah, there.
And the problems are more pronounced in this this set of 5 episodes than in any other. So
I'm gonna be honest. I don't remember if it ever happens again. I want to say it doesn't, but as many times as I've like thought that to myself so far, and it has become a thing again, the more I just want to not throw that out there because I can't guarantee that there isn't some other thing that I forgot.
yeah, it's very complicated because Anyway, one thing that I've thought about is does this country have a thing against gay people too, or is it just just whatever, man, because he's very flamboyantly gay stereotype, so I don't know how we would survive in this locale if we were to...
I mean, everybody seems to treat him fairly respectfully. I mean, he's considered like at least the second best automail mechanic in all of fucking Rock Valley, if Dominic is the one who set her up with him.
Yeah, and if that's not going to become an issue in the show, that's fine. I don't have.
Oh no, there's definitely no hyper outwardly coded, negatively coded gay stereotypes in the rest of the show for sure. Yeah. There may be some more racial stuff that I don't remember. But I don't believe there's anything that's it's almost derogatory towards gay people in the rest of the show.
Yep, and that's a good thing. That is a very good thing.
That's a good thing. The fewest stereotypes we can get away with depicting, the better.
Okay, so that basically brings us to the end of episode 15, where the Elrics, Winry, and maybe Ling and his crew are heading towards Central to find more stuff about this Philosopher's Stone.
Back to Central again, baby. Winry's coming along. We're going to Central. It's just back there again, except this time, wow, shit is bad in Central.
Yeah. I almost asked how they afford for all these transportation costs, but then I remembered Edward's fucking rich, so
Edward's got pockets as deep as the Mariana Trench. Motherfucker's 15 years old, has the entire funds of the nation of fucking France.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, is there anything we really missed? Any big points we want to get down? Yeah.
Not that I know of. I think we hit everything. We hit everything that I can remember and everything we've written down.
Oh, we almost forgot. We got to talk about the man, the myth.
Oh, the man.
The legend.
The myth.
Alex Louis Armstrong.
Alex Louis Armstrong. Alex Louis Armstrong.
He doesn't get a lot in these.
Punches the shit out of
episodes.
a man made of a cow.
Yeah, he gets that, which is pretty great. But that's really
it's
his
the
only
best
moment.
action scene we've gotten from Armstrong in the entire show so far, and it's incredible. And he turns the man's hammer into a bust of himself, and then he punches the shit out of him, and it's rad because it's Alex Louis Armstrong.
I didn't even know what that was meant to achieve, other than to just be a complete power move.
Oh yeah,
I can, so I will. And
exactly.
And then the only other thing he gets is a little conversation with Ed and Al, where after the whole shit with the Chimera went down, everybody's kind of debriefing and stuff. By the way, we need to talk about that because Fuhrer Bradley fucking he interrogates Ed and Al and literally threatens them with execution. First of all,
yeah, he's like, if you gave away any secrets of the state,
I'd have to kill you.
I'll kill you right here in front of God and everyone.
Yeah, first of all, as if that would motivate them to tell him,
ah ha ha, you're such an honest kid.
Maybe if he said oh, if you tell me now, I won't kill you, but just know if you hide anything from me beyond this point, I'm gonna have to kill you later if I figure it out. But
Which, honestly, by lucky chance, they didn't lie to him. They really didn't tell that dude anything.
yeah.
But, like, they wouldn't have told him if they did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, certainly. But anyway, like, after, like, this whole, like, debrief happens, like, Ed and Al are, like, kind of, like, winding down afterwards, and, like, they somehow get onto the subject of, Colonel Major Hughes, and Alex does not tell them about, Colonel Hughes, and they still have no idea.
Oh, yeah, they
5
still
episodes
don't
later.
know that Hughes is dead.
Yeah, which is
Winry wants to go back and meet the kid, and they just don't know.
Yeah, like, I mean, I guess I get it. Like, what's happened today, happened that day was probably, like, not a great time to tell them, but when are you gonna tell them?
Right.
It's
like,
important information they ought to know. But
yeah.
that's unfortunately all we get from Alex Louise Armstrong these 5 episodes.
And I think that that's all that we've got from us for these 5 episodes.
Yes.
Also,
That's true.
speaking of important information that people should know, equally as important as the death of a loved one. Josh,
Yes.
hit him with those socials.
Okay, so if you guys like this show and want to follow any of us, you can follow the show on Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram at HowToOtakuPod. That's spelled like you think it is, HowToOtakuPod. And if you want to follow me, you can follow me on Facebook at JDThornFilm. You can follow me on Instagram or Twitter at J_D_Thorn. All those links will be in the description. And if you care about what I think about movies, because I'm a film student, I have opinions about movies whenever I see them, you can check out my Letterboxd at letterboxd.com/JDThorn. So, Brogan, what do you got?
I'm just on Twitter. Sometimes I'm on Twitch, but you'll know if I'm on Twitch if you follow me on Twitter. That's Brogan_live. If you like Brogan, you'll love Brogan Live.
Wonderful.
Wonderful tagline. Very funny. Entirely original. You've never heard it before.
Yeah, and if you like this show, you can please share us on social media. We don't really have we don't have a marketing budget right now, so the best we can do is share it on our pipelines and ask that you guys share it on your feeds. So
right, and even if we did have a marketing budget, the best way to get out there with a show like this is word of mouth anyways.
Yeah.
If we go marketing ourselves to people with money that we don't have on platforms that we don't know about, then we might get 1 or 2 people. But if you know a friend who would be into this, or even if you know a friend who you would want to be into this, tell them to give it a try. They're losing nothing. I mean, it's a podcast. You can do this shit while you're taking a shower, while you're taking a shit, while you're cooking breakfast. It's if they aren't liking it, then they can turn it off. But just tell somebody about it. Tell one person about it.
Yeah. So, and if you care to support us a little bit more than that, you can go to our Anchor page at anchor.fm/howtootaku and click the listener support button. And you can sign up to donate to us on a monthly basis, anywhere from $1 to $10. And that will help us reach more people as well. None of the money we're getting from this show is going into our pockets. It's all going back into the show where we can use it to improve our equipment and our means of getting the word out about the show. So that's...
And my level of happiness by buying a PS5.
That's not true.
I'm kidding. We've made 3 episodes. I can tell you exactly how much money we've made, and it's not nearly enough for a PlayStation 5.
Especially with all the fucking scalpers out there. Like, oh my god.
Oh my god.
The thing is
Hell yeah,
that
I'm spending
one of these
$1,000
days,
on a PlayStation 5.
Like, one of these days, probably pretty soon, PlayStation probably just gonna drop like a whole shitload of stock on this PS5, and then all the people who are scalped like have no ability to make any money on their purchases.
And it's gonna be so funny, and we're gonna love to watch those people burn.
Fuck scalpers. That's the note we're going out on.
Fuck scalpers, trans rights. I'll see you, Space Cowboy.
Yep. See you then.